Here we go. Another Clarity with Sims Media. It's another one of these. I'm surprised they've been going on this long, but they're kind of fun. They're really more than anything just a chance for me and you to just chat about what's going on and keep it in our mind.
Mhm.
So I'm enjoying these. So again, for any of you that are just joining us, welcome. You can ask questions. We will get them. And if they're interesting, we'll answer them. If they're not, we'll ignore them. But we're here to just chat between us on what's going on in the world of digital, online, branding, marketing, advertising, the whole gamut. And each week we try to come up with a different subject. What is our subject matter this week, Henry?
This week, we are going to be jabbering about the importance of the mobile world and what does that look like now? Because over the years, we've been so ingrained on our computers, but what's the landscape looking like? How much is it shifting from desktop versus mobile? And then how can you best take advantage of that shift?
Now, I'm actually speaking, and you know this, but for those people that are listening that may not be aware, I'm actually one of the keynote headlines for traffic and conversion this year. Kind of a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. And we're doing it on branding. And so we've been working on the kind of presentation and what we've been focusing on and finding out quite simply that the mobile isn't even close to any other form of platform for your consumption. And I'm not going to give away it. If you're down at TNC, say hi, tell us you listen to these and you watch these and that you support, follow us, and I'll be pleased to say hi to you. But as we were going through this research, we looked at 2011, where the dominating factor was still Mr. TV. It was that big bloody rectangular thing on your wall. That was where you got most of it. Fast forward now, and COVID has amplified it, and the online streaming services have amplified it as well. A lot of people are now watching TV, listening to radio, even reading the news, the newspapers from mobile platforms. So we've seen the media consumption go away from TV, actually even go away, and this is startling for a lot of people, from the desktop, from our laptops, moving away from that straight onto this little fella. Why do you think that's been the case?
Because it's just so easy. It's always on
Yep.
us, and it's so easy to be able to access anything at any time with our phone. And I remember teachers in college and stuff, they really hated smartphones because they kind of give us this chance where we don't really have to learn a lot. If we need to know whatever question our teacher is asking us, we can just pull out our phone, ask Siri, and it will tell us. So we've got this constant access at any second, and it makes it super easy for us to get our fix on whatever we want anytime.
You're right. It's ease and convenience. And that's obviously been designed by the good folks over at Apple, who are the dominating supplier of smartphones in the US. What was the latest stats?
The latest was that this year, I think that Apple had got 50% market share, and then behind that was Samsung at like 24%. So iPhones are really heavy within the US.
All right. And they've made it easy. They've also made it convenient, and they've made it addictive. You see,
Mhm.
we've had this argument, in the family. I'm always like, hey, don't bring your phone down to the table. If we're sitting around watching a movie, don't have your phone with you, because you don't want that little vibration. Even though you've got it on silent, you can still hear the phone go, you can still hear all that crap. So I've always, as a father, turned around and gone, hey, keep your phones away. But the dumb thing is, someone knocks on our door, rings our gate bell. We've now got these nests that connect with the phone. Nothing else. They connect with the phone. My wife, Claire, she needs to turn the air conditioning up or down. It's on the phone. So everything is now on the phone. Even when you're using Apple TV on your TV, it actually comes up with the keyboard on your phone. So it's very hard for us to actually be away from it. And it's
Mhm.
getting harder. So now that we know that it's become very much of an addictive force, now that we know that we actually utilize it, the one thing that people are still ignoring is how people use it for marketing. Now, we've been doing this jabbering now for 5 minutes, 1 second. We've told you that the dominating media platform or the consumption platform in the planet is your smartphone. We've told you that the iPhone dominates by over half all smartphones in the US. Yet everyone still focuses all their branding and attention on their desktop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit daft there. Last year when we were at TNC, and I'll tell this story, you know this story. This girl came up to me and she was a marketing expert. Okay. I love the word experts. She was a marketing expert. And I was like, oh, good for you. That's great. And she said, yeah, I do this and I do this. I do this. Now, when people understand the structure of a connection, okay, and I'm, power pause there, the structure of a connection and introduction. Someone tells, I'm here and I'm going, you got to go to Henry Sims. He is so sharp on media. He's going to help your business. He's going to grow your business. He's brilliant. Now you trust me, so you listen to me. And as you walk away, there's only one reflex you have. You pick up your phone and you Google Henry Sims. You don't get your laptop out. You don't get home onto your big desktop. You get your phone out. Now, at that point in time, we're only looking for one thing. We're looking for validation of what Steve says can be seen clearly as to what Henry represents. That's all we're looking for. The whole point of a website is to validate what you've already heard. So I'm telling you that Henry Sims is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you're going onto your phone just to validate it. This lady was telling me how good she was at marketing, and she got her laptop out to show me her site. As she's talking to me, I pulled out my phone and started Googling her. And she went, what you doing? I went, oh, I'm Googling you. She's like, no, here it is. Here's the website. I said, yeah, but I don't know you. I said, we've just been introduced, and so I'm adding the next step, but I'm doing it in front of you. She's like, what? And I told her, I'm Googling to find out what you look like. Googled her. Her SEO was good. Her website was up at the top. Great. That's the first check mark. We've spoke about chocks before. If you don't know what a chock is, go back to one of our past episodes on sims.media and look up chocks, C-H-O-C. So her SEO was working. The first thing that popped up was her website. So I looked on her website, and her buffering and her bumpers and her layout, and that's all techie for how things look on the mobile. And understand this, how your mobile website looks like can actually be vastly different to your desktop. Now, they need to have the same continuity, the same verbiage, colors, fonts, blah, blah, blah. They need to look incredibly similar so that you know you're on the same person. But layout-wise, what you've got on a landscape versus a small vertical can be laid out differently. She hadn't paid attention to it. And I remember looking through it, and the first thing I noticed was that from her picture, the amount of space took me 2 thumb strikes before I got to the content. So there was all of this dead real estate. Now, no one likes doing a third. You want to keep my attention, 2 thumb strikes, I'm good. 4, I'm done. All right? No one wants to be doing that. Arthritis in the thumb, no one likes it. And I got the phone and I went, oh, this is what you look like. And it was blank space. And do you know what she did? She turned around and she went, no, look on it. I said, look, how many people in this room are looking on their desktops versus how many people in this room are on their smartphones? How many people are going to be on the smartphone? Is this the first time you pulled out your laptop today? And she went, yeah. So how were you consuming all of your other media and your emails and your searches? My smartphone. The first thing you could do, the first thing that we do whenever we do any of the media with our clients, the first thing that we do is we Google them on the most used apparatus by any human being, the smartphone. How do you look there? Couldn't give a shit how you look like on the movies. How do you look there? And that's the biggest downfall. Why do people still overlook it?
Because it's easy to design and look at things on a computer, but it's just that old style that we're used to. And it's when they're building you build the website on your computer. And so everyone makes the mistake of building it for the computer first and then assuming that it's going to look good on the mobile device. So really, you have to do it the other way around. Even though you're going to be building your website on a computer, you want to focus first on how's it going to look for mobile, and then look at how can I build it to look good on a computer. Because you said it, when we are out and about, whenever we need to search something, we pull out our phone because it's right in our pocket, and that's where we look. So when we are trying to design websites on our computer and we decide to design them looking good on our computer first, then we're going to have a harder time with the mobile look, or we're just not going to even think about it. So when you design your websites, you have to design from a mobile first, then optimize it and relay out and all that for desktop. And they do look different. We've got certain websites where sections will be hidden or entirely different when it's on a mobile device versus a desktop, just because of compatibility and the experience of using one device over the other. So that's the first thing, is changing how you build the website. It'll be built on your computer, but you have to build it from the perspective of your phone before you then design it to look nice on your computer.
Now, that's the website, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want everyone out there thinking, well, I better just check my website. You need to check your conversation. You see, when I send you an email, I can put in there 4 or 5 paragraphs. When you open it up on your laptop, excuse me, when you open up 4 or 5 paragraphs on your laptop, your laptop's big enough. Your desktop is certainly big enough. You can read it. You can see the spacing. It's not intimidating. But when you open up 4 or 5 paragraphs on an iPhone, that's like bloody War and Peace. If you send someone a text with 4 or 5 paragraphs, my God, you've aggravated the crap out of them. So you've got to understand, where are you consuming the conversation, and talk to that screen size. Do it in little bits. If you're going to send out an email, and this is what we do, we send out newsletters every now and then. We prep them. We send them out as a test to us. They land in our inbox. We know they're there. That triggers us to, okay, what does it look like here? That's the key. What does everything? So it's not just your website. Think of how you're marketing your Facebook ads. Think about how you're marketing your TikTok. Think about how you're doing your emails. Think about how you're doing your texts. We're not just here saying, hey, your website's got to look good there. Your life has to look good on that like 5x3 inch, whatever the diameters are of your smartphone. Everything that you offer out there primarily has to look brilliant on that size screen before you can focus on scaling it out.
Yeah, we had some friends of ours who do some awesome content. They make some really valuable content. And I started noticing them whenever they were posting online, they were posting these landscape photos and videos. And I said to them, like, why are you posting in landscape? And they're like, well, that's how we do it. It looks good here. And it was like YouTube or Twitter. I was like, yeah, but everywhere else, it doesn't look good. Everywhere else, you've got these either really small used space. Like if you do that on Instagram and people are scrolling, you're using such a small area to actually capture their attention. And so we were having this like chat, and I said to them, look at square and vertical because of how many people use a phone. And especially on social media, most people are using their phone to go through social media. So when we were talking about vertical, they were saying, yeah, but it's not going to look as good on the desktop. And I was like, that's correct. Square is going to look better on a desktop, but most people are on the phone. So you're catering and designing your content to work better on the device that most people are using. So we had this whole chat about it. And finally, I think a couple weeks ago, he started redoing all his videos into vertical, and they looked awesome. So it was good to see that. But you have to see, that's why we're driving this point forward of how used and adopted phones are. The majority of people have a smartphone. In the US, that's an iPhone, but globally, tons of people have smartphones now. And so that's how we're consuming our information. So websites and social media, content, all of it is on our phone. And even when you're looking from a marketing perspective, we saw that in 2021, that 60% of global website traffic was through a mobile device. So we are looking at stuff on our phone, and then we're clicking through to websites and other things on our phone. So from a marketing perspective, I looked on some of our backend analytics, and the amount of ads that are being shown on phones, the amount of engagement and clicks that we're getting on our phones was like, I think our engagement was like 80% or something through a mobile device. And so that's where you really have to focus on making the content that you're creating. And content can be videos, it can be your website, anything, emails. It needs to look good on the mobile because that's where people are checking it. And then you can figure out, how do I optimize it outside of that for a desktop?
I remember speaking with Peter Diamandis, and this was a few years ago. So his vision at the time is becoming more and more true. A lot of the youth and the young adopters. Now, when I say young adopters, this could be someone in their 50s. Like, for argument's sake, my mother-in-law hasn't got a desktop, but she's got an iPad. So a lot of late adopters now and the youth are actually going for mobile platforms. They're going for tablets. They're going for phones because that's good enough. And of course, if you notice that Apple recognized this and they are building bigger screens. In fact, I think the iPhone 14, what's that, 6.7? And the last one was 6.1. So these mobile devices are kind of moving away from the mobile world now, but they're a big enough screen that you don't need something else. And because of the ability to download all the apps, a lot of people are just going straight for the mobile device and not the computers. We do have another question here, actually, that's coming from Chris Gunn that I want you to fire in. I know the answer, but hey, go for it.
Is SEO affected if you build for mobile? Well, I would say so. I don't know technicality of search, if it is improved. I would imagine so, but in my mind, the quality of the search is definitely going to be affected, because if you build it for mobile, or if you don't build it for mobile and it still shows up and someone goes to it, then it's not going to be a good experience. They'll leave. And when you have those kind of bounce rates of people going somewhere and then just immediately leaving, it's not going to be ranked well quality wise within Google, and your SEO will be affected. So I don't know if specifically building for mobile does have any point building to your SEO, but the experience that someone has on your website does contribute to that SEO. So if you're not building your website for mobile viewing, all those mobile viewers are going to bounce really quick, and that's going to hurt how your website is showed through Google.
I think we should get a follow-up answer on that. And Chris, I'll actually get it. Now we have a team that work for us, and we actually have an SEO department and division. So I'll actually defer this question to them to find out what the differences are. But again, if you're building a website, you should first of all build it for mobile and then do the SEO that works best for that, and then look at how to optimize it for the desktop, not vice versa. So Chris, I'll come back to get a 100% answer on the SEO differentiators between the mobile and the desktop. So we already know that the world of digital is being consumed on your handheld. We now know that we need to be focusing on that. Any of your newsletters, any of your emails, any of your communication, any of your advertising, pick up your phone, send yourself a test, and check it there first. Whenever I send out an email and it's an important email to me regarding Speakeasy or where I'm speaking, I'll send it to myself first and I'll check it on my phone. If it looks good on my phone, it's going to look dynamite on my desktop, but always do that. As we finish up, because we only run these for about 20 minutes at a time, what else should we be focusing on, Henry?
I just think that you should look through your whole system and see where you're prioritizing, where you're gaining the attention. Do you assume that most people are looking on computer and that's how you're designing stuff? If more people own smartphones, if more people are consuming media through their smartphones, if advertisers are spending more on mobile ad spend, then those are all signs that we shift towards that attention as entrepreneurs, that we need to gather that attention as effectively as possible. So we need to work to the device that people are consuming through.
There was the downside with marketing and branding, I'll kind of finish it off with here, is that people overcomplicate shit that they don't understand. Now, my dad used to take me fishing. I fucking hated fishing, but he always used to say that if we're going fishing, go where fish feed. That's where they'll be. When you're trying to attract a marketplace, go where that marketplace is. If you're trying to hold a conversation, go to where they are consuming your conversation. So don't overcomplicate shit. At the moment, today, the mobile platform is where you need to be focusing your attention on how it looks when you're delivering a message. Do I know what that's going to be like in the future? No. We may have implants in 5 years' time and seeing everything from some visionary VR over our left eyeball. I don't know. But for today, focus your message on how it's being received. And that's the key. How you send it is irrelevant. How it's received is everything. All right, Henry, you got any last words of wisdom?
Nope, I think that was great.
All right, and we're in Newport Beach next week with a Scott Duffy event. Then the following week, we're at Mimosa Mastermind, and then keynote at Traffic and Conversion. So look forward to seeing you bunch. Any of these areas that you see me speaking, come over and say hi. Henry's always there because I'm the good-looking one. He's the intelligent. So just make sure you come over, say hi to us, and thanks for being part of the family. Henry, I'll see you soon.
All righty.